Okay, hey there everybody, Scott from Scott's Moto Adventures, and this is going to be the talk about the actual rally itself, the 2026 BMW MOA Rally at Vermont Access at the Champlain Expo Center. Now, full disclosure, I did pay for my ticket in December of 2025. Then, in March of 2026, my name was pulled out of a hat, and I received a free ticket, so they refunded me my money. And I got a rally ticket for free. The gas was not free, the food was not free, the camping gear was not free. Nothing else was free, just the rally ticket. But when you get a rally ticket, you get free camping. So let's talk about the rally itself. I split this up into 5 different sections: the riding area, the venue itself, the entertainment, and entertainment is going to include seminars, and then the people, and also my final thoughts. So 5 different things. Let's talk about the riding area. Now, if you watched my 3 other videos, you saw I got to see covered bridges. I went to see a show in the middle of Vermont. And then I also went to the Peachum Cafe. So you saw all the riding around the area. You saw how much fun I was having. It was really nice. If you want to do dirt, you can do dirt. If you want to do, you can do street. If you want to go see new things, if you want to go see old things like covered bridges, if you want to see farmland, Vermont is the state to go to. So I highly recommend it. Now, one thing I wanted to do that I did not get to do is go to Montreal, because you were pretty close. Zach from Phantom Rider did. So I highly suggest watching his channel. And then I think he gave a video to the BMW MOA. Not the BMW MOA. He gave a video to the Lehigh Valley Beemers. So check that out. There were other things you could have done. I know some board members went to Mount Washington the Monday before. I know another Cottywampler. He spent a whole week up in Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. He got like 100 covered bridges. So that whole area, is really good riding, that more northeast area. Having done some Mount Washington riding, I highly recommend it. That being said, I did all that riding and I eventually got to the Champlain Expo Center. Yeah. I was not as big of a fan of it as I was the place in Lebanon, Tennessee. So we get there, you get there. The nice thing is you have good parking. You have a big dirt parking lot. No big deal. I was like, okay, registration will be inside. No, it's outside. I didn't like that at all. And a lot of stuff that was inside last year was outside. I was hot, I was sweaty, not really in a good mood. And guy who couldn't use a tablet was trying to register me in. And it just sucked. So wasn't really thrilled about that. And then as the week went on, the weekend went on, I was like, yeah, I'm not real thrilled about this place. The other thing that I didn't like was I feel like this place was more compact than last year's. I think there was more space last year. Here, especially around the Lehigh Valley Beemer tent, just was more compact. On site, if you wanted a beer or food, you were going to pay a lot of money. Beers were $10 a pop for like a lighter beer, and then the food, I think there was like an $18 pulled pork barbecue meal. I'm like, I'm not paying $18 for a pulled pork barbecue sandwich and some fries. The food was good, but it wasn't, they were asking way too much. You went off site. That was one of the positive things compared to Lebanon. There was some really good stuff in walking distance. There was a bar in walking distance, at least on the one end. And then on the other end, you can go into Essex Junction. You could walk there. Dunkin' Donuts, McDonald's, a Dollar General that sold beer, and then a grocery store that sold beer. I went to the Planet Fitness right outside of there because I didn't want to shower in front of everybody, in the trailers. Also, I was hearing there were some trailer issues and some shower issues at the fairground. It was dealt with, but it wasn't dealt with quick enough in my eyes. So that was that's not against the MOA. And I know the staff at the fairgrounds were working hard. I was talking to the one lady at the bar. She seemed really nice. I said, I know you guys are working hard, but I don't think you guys were ready. So she didn't say anything about that. But they want to go, the BMW MOA board wants to go back to certain places. This is one I don't think we should go back to for a while. And it's been 20 years since the last time we went there. So, for the most part, it was okay, but it could have been a lot better. Now, that leads us to entertainment. Entertainment at the MOA Rally. I'm beginning to think maybe, just maybe, instead of doing 2 concerts a night, we do 1. That's my personal opinion. Nobody else is saying that. Here's the reason why. Friday night, I'm getting my cottywomple stuff in, doing some paperwork. You know, I'm just online, being me. And I can hear everything in the distance. So I hear the first band. I hear Folsom Prison Blues. And it's the second time I heard it that week because of the musical review at Weston. No big deal. I like it. It was a little bit different and way different than $1 Million Quartet. Okay, cool. So I go down later on and, I go down to get a beer and hang out with the guys. And the band's playing Folsom Prison Blues again. And that wasn't the only song on the playlist that they played. The second band played a lot of the first band songs. You know what? Maybe it's time we go down to 1. If they're going to play the same set list, just go down to 1. The other thing is, and the other complaint about concerts was, so the theme of this was Vermont vibes. And I wonder if we called it Vermont vibes for alliteration, or if somebody wanted to go to Woodstock, New York, and didn't pan out. So they're like, well, we already kind of got a theme. Let's just move it up north. There was a Grateful Dead band on Wednesday, which would have fit the theme really well, which fits the theme. Why wasn't it on Saturday to close out the night? Or Friday night? You know, so the way it works at the rally is, and what I felt a lot this year was a lot of people left early. A lot of people, either it was too hot, they were too tired, they had a long drive. They left on Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon. They're like, we're done. Or no, not they were leaving early on Saturday. So Friday night might want to be the top of the night, the best night. Or you can move it to Saturday and try to get people to stay, or try to get people to come by using a day pass. Now, you might want to find a better cover band, like a well-known local band to do it, or you might want to, get someone better. I know it's hard to get good people right now, especially with the amount of costs and the way it's happening with our club, with the MOA in general. The attendance has really shrunk over the years, so they are limited by some funding. So I understand that, but the Grateful Dead would have worked on Friday. The Grateful Dead cover band, I think, would have worked better on Friday or Saturday night than on Wednesday night with the Volunteers. That kind of was like, yeah, that was a great, thing for them. But I think it would have worked better later in the week for everyone and not just the people who helped set up. So there's that. I'd also like to see maybe a bonfire. I mean, they were advertising fires on the Facebook page. And I'm like, hey, are we going to have a fire? Oh, no, we're not going to have a fire. Well, then why are you advertising it? I mean, I did find a hip camp up the street where I could have, but that's not the same. So I don't know. I think they should do maybe like a bonfire or something different. Now, next up, I want to talk about the seminars because I love the seminars. I think they're great. But this year, I just felt that they were a little weak. There were a couple, typically, you're going to hear from me, I'm Mr. Anti-Advertisement. I did not like, it was a lot of SkyMed, a lot of travel companies. Cardo was showing off their new helmet that you can be a guinea pig for. I'm sorry, it's a first year product. Anytime it's a first year product, you're the alpha tester, beta tester for that, as far as I'm concerned. A lot of advertising stuff, and I'd like to see more demos. I would like to see more demos. Like there were some about lifting a heavy bike if you're a small person. Hey, look, that's a great thing for me. Unfortunately, I couldn't make those. The other thing is, this is where I'm coming from. I want more demonstrations. So, you're going to hear me. I don't like influencers. I just don't like them. But I might want to have to make a deal with the devil on this. So Amanda Zitto has a $40 cookbook. Bring her in to do a demo on how to cook on the road. I think that'd be a great one. And then say, the MOA should just say, hey, can you do something that's not on one of your videos? She goes to Torah-Tech. She goes to some other rallies. Maybe next year for Great Falls, Montana, maybe you can get her. But I think it's going to be at a cost. Hopefully not too much, because I don't think she's worth buku bucks. She's a very good person. She seems very nice, but I don't think she's going to be bringing down a big fee to do a 1-hour demonstration. But, you know, do a deal with the influencers. And I think they're going to be cheaper than my next suggestion, and that is bring in some bigger people. Charlie Borman was just on Long Way Home with the BMW. Talk to him about that. Hey, why'd you want this? Why'd you want, how do you feel about the airheads? Would you prefer an oil, do something like that and put him on the main stage. Elizabeth Beard, she comes over a lot. Talk to her, bring her to a rally again, pay her fee, have her do that, have her do a book signing. She is like one of the higher, more respected people in the BMW community. So that's what I would do for the seminars. I did go to 2. I went to the BMW board meeting. I wanted to talk to them about, what was it? I wanted to talk to them about, so we were a charter club, we turned into a chapter club. I just wanted to see what they thought about that, what the board thought about that. And they said, they really didn't give me a clear answer. They said it's the way of the future, but they're still working on some stuff. They're still tweaking some stuff. That happened with the Lehigh Valley Beemers, which is now going to be the Eastern PA Beemers. I'll talk about that in another video. But anyway, long story short, if you join the MOA and you're in the Allentown area, Lancaster area, up north, not in Philly. If you're toward Philly, you don't get assigned. But if you're within a certain geographic area, and I might put it up here, you get signed up for our club right away, and it's just a way to engage stuff and get people engaged with the club and the BMW MOA. Other stuff that came up was talking about the getaways. Some people thought it was expensive. They came back and said, yeah, it is expensive. And instead of saying, yeah, it is expensive and that's just the way it's going to be, they said, no, it's expensive and we're not happy with it either. And while we're not going to say the guy who runs these things is a bad guy, he's not. They understand that he can no longer get good deals, or the way travel has changed in the past 5 years or 6 years. The days of getting affordable travel and doing really fun getaways at a good price may not be around anymore. On top of that, the BMW MOA may take their name off of the getaways because they don't want that to reflect upon them. And then there was some other conversations, like one guy was saying, well, in my club, we have a camp out. And if you don't want to camp out, then don't go. So I heard that. I was like, yeah, that's how it should be. Because, I'm more of the camping guy. I know not everybody is, but I like to camp more than I like to hotel it. So that was a pretty fun. Board meeting was good. Cottywomple was going to be the same. I went to the Cottywomple last year. It was going to be the same. Bill brought his laptop in, but he forgot his power cord. And he just was like, I'm not doing the presentation, like the PowerPoint presentation. So it turned into a question and answer. It was actually a fun, engaging question and answer. Everybody was having fun. I think it was better this year because the Cottywomple judges, I think, dialed it back on being tough. So I appreciate that. And I think everybody does. And I think they got more honey with sugar this year. Last year, they were kind of pushing. They got a little too far. They were pushing a little too far with some of the rules, and they needed to amend some of the rules also, and they didn't. This year, they've been nicer, and they apologized for the purple signs, so I appreciate that, because they're like, oops, we're not doing purple again. So there was that. Those two were good. I just wish there were more that was interesting to me. Long distance riding, moto camping, moto cooking. There could be more. I mean, maybe I guess I got to put, well, I'm not going to do it next year, but how about we have a non-sponsored, hey, this is how you connect for a group ride thing. Like a tech day kind of demo, or here's how you set up for GPX. Here's how why is a dedicated Garmin better than a Carpi ride? Something like that. So that's kind of what I kind of want to see. And so anyway, the people were awesome. I got to meet Ted Moyer. I got to hang out with the Lehigh Valley, other Lehigh Valley people. It actually is the beginning of why I'm now the community expert for the Eastern PA Beemer Club. That actually started because I met with a board member and he's like, why isn't this guy doing more? And, Vince was there, and he's like, oh, he does a lot, but let's see what we can do. You know, so we had some great rides. You know, I thank Terrence for helping me out with some covered bridges, some bears, some pie signs. So thank you, Terrence, for that. That was a huge help. And, you know, I met some new members because even though they don't go to breakfast with us or don't go on group rides, they came to the rally. They met up with us at the tent. We hung out. So that was nice. But yeah, those are good. Those were some good things. You know, for the most part, everybody was nice. Okay. And even though I didn't like my neighbors, they still were quiet. So like, I can't complain too much. Now, so for my overall thoughts, and I'm going to be very honest about this, do consider Great Falls for next year. Even though this was my second rally, my first rally I enjoyed more. And the reason is mainly because of the venue and the prices, and it just, to me, I liked that more. I just liked it more. I had a better experience. I can't say that about this particular, I wasn't a big fan of this one. I shouldn't say that. I didn't have as much fun. The weather was the same, stormy and hot. Both weekends, both the same. One in Tennessee, one in Essex Junction, pretty much the same. So that was the same. The prices kind of killed it for me all around the area, but within the venue, I did not like that. And then didn't like the neighbors. I would have had more fun being next to the DC club. What else? It just didn't feel as much. I just didn't enjoy myself as much. And I kind of was bored of like, oh, 2 concerts a night. Oh, they're playing the same songs. It's like, yeah, it's kind of boring. So I just need something to like get me excited more. I don't know if they need to do something different. Like maybe I just went to Soggy Bottom. So they had slow races. Like the competition stuff there, like there was a police motorcycle thing. That was cool. I know some of the people at Soggy Bottom that did like a training course. That was neat. The slow races at Soggy Bottom was more fun, I think. That was the most fun just because it was like, who cares? So I don't know if they need to find something safe, but not really, but still fun and interesting to do. And I think they need to figure out something like that. Something like the slow races, but not the slow races. That's Soggy Bottom's deal. So, you know, there's that. I gotta say the riding was better around the area. Don't get me wrong, Tennessee and Kentucky was great. I went to the Corvette Museum. Finally got that off my bucket list. But I just didn't like it as much this year. And so I'm gonna say this, and I don't mean it to be in the same breath. I am not going to Great Falls. And it's not because I was as disappointed this year. No, I'm not going to Great Falls because it's too far away. If the rally was in more of a metropolitan area where I can go from Allentown or Philly to that area, perfect. In one flight, perfect. Unfortunately, it's like a 2 to 3 flight thing. Essex Junction was the same way. I think that's one of the reasons why attendance was down slightly. Last year was Lebanon. You go to Nashville, you drive over, you're good. So even if you were in Washington or wherever, it was it was doable. This rally, I was disappointed because the roads were so good, the area was so good, but I also have to think that this was maybe too far north for the people of Texas, the people of New Mexico, Arizona, California, and then on the west side of the country, Seattle, Idaho, Oregon. That's a heck of a drive to go cross country. And if you can't ride there, yeah, that takes a lot out of it. And even if you just want to fly in, is it really worth it? I mean, unless you're like a higher up guy or like someone who has BMW MOA underwear, is it really worth it? And like, so, and I'm going to be in that boat next year. Like Montana, cool place. I really want to go there, but I'm going to skip next year just because it's just not in a metropolitan area. And I think that's going to hurt it. I think that's going to hurt, that hurt Essex Junction. Tennessee did okay because it was in the middle of the country. So, well, the Midwest one. So maybe, hopefully for the East Coast in a couple of years, they go south. There are some places on the north area, mid-Atlantic area that I think they should consider for the East. I actually kind of want them to not go to fairgrounds, do racetracks, Pocono Speedway, Michigan Speedway, Grattan, if you want to go the Midwest route. Down south, you can see if you can get Rockingham, Bowman Gray, Richmond, where else? Bristol, Tennessee. I think Charlotte's going to be an arm and a leg, and North Wilkesboro might be an arm and a leg. But that those places provide, you know, maybe a track and place to, you know, an actual campground, because you got to have the campground for the NASCAR people. So that's my thinking. But anyway, like, I think they just have to find places within the metropolitan area. I think that would really help. So, I mean, there's an off year for me. I liked the Tennessee one more than I liked the Essex Junction. So will I go again? Yes, just not next year. 2027's out, 2028. Looking forward to June 2027, so I know where I'm going in 2028. But what I'm going to do is I can now actually go to other MOA rallies and not feel as bad. I can finally go to the Square Root Rally because it's so close to the National Rally. I'll go to the Square Root Rally. I think that's going to be a busy year for them. And then, you know, there's some others, like maybe Finger Lake next year might be in my wheelhouse. Maybe Soggy Bottom. That's not a BMW rally, but it's a good one. Maybe, what's another, you know, there's other rallies. Maybe I could finally do, you know, AMA Vintage Days. So I'm definitely thinking about other events next year instead of just going to the BMW National Rally. So I'm looking forward to that. So those are my thoughts. If you like them, great. If you don't like them, let me know. If you're interested, let me know. If you want to get more involved with the BMW MOA, let me know. Or if you're interested in the MOA Rally, let me know, and I can see if I can help you out with that stuff. You know, if you did like this kind of content, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.